Hey everybody, Z with ZandGEmporium. We reopened the consignment business in the beginning of July of this year. It took until July 14th for auctions to end. So really now I have about 90 days worth of data to share with you. Just a couple interesting things that have happened with the business, where I see it going, as well as the Pokemon market in general. You know, I say Pokemon market, we do sell a lot of One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Lorcana, right? Dragon. I mean, there's so many TCGs out there that we sell. But you know, Pokemon is of course the biggest. It's the biggest one that's graded. It's the biggest one that's sold. And of course, that's the reason this whole channel started, was because of you know, me playing Pokemon back in 1999, and here I am as a 37-year-old father of two, still full-time job doing Pokemon cards. But anyway. It's been 90 days. It's been a pretty crazy 90 days, as you can probably tell. I haven't really made many videos in the past couple months, actually. Wanted to make this video because now we have that data. Also, we're going to Chicago Collecticon, and that's going to be fun to go there because, you know, we're only 3 hours away drive from here in Indiana. So that's going to be good to, you know, it's a lot of money to fly just yourself, but if you're flying you and, you know, your wife and two kids, I mean, kids, I mean, you got to spend money on them on a seat as well. I mean, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars just to fly somewhere. So it'll be nice to have a family trip up there and see people up there. Yes, we will be, you know, if you want to, you know, have stuff sent back with us, we will be doing that. I'm still setting up how to do that. It's probably just going to be, I take your stuff, inventory it, send an email to consign@ZandGEmporium.com so that I have, you know, an actual backup of what we have. You know, instead of, you know, we have our usual inventory way we do it here. You know, they open the box and inventorying it there, and really can't do that there. So at least I'll have like photo evidence as well as kind of, you know, describe what it is and who it is, and send it. So I'll have it in email form, in two emails, one from a sent as well as, you know, receiving email. And then probably just ship it back, honestly, from a post office in Chicago, because I don't really want to have that on hand all weekend, and I don't want to drive with your guys' stuff as well as we have insurance, business insurance that will cover it on hand and being shipped. So it really doesn't matter to us, and I think it's a little better of an experience there. So I'm going to be doing that, and we're going to see kind of what that does for the business. I mean, if it's really, really popular, I could see us doing something where we go to, you know, certain conventions or card shows and whatever, and just, I would think especially on Sunday when the vendors are packing up and it's like, hey guys, do you have cards? If your cards are, I mean, we accept the amount of level of cards, but if you have cards worth $100 plus, I mean, if you're going to sell those on eBay, you're going to lose money and do work versus just do it with us, auction or fixed price. So it's like, just send it with us, and we just do all the work for you, and you could make 88%, 93%, 95% on your stuff and just get rid of it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Or I might get no cards. I don't know. But that's going to be an interesting experience, maybe a new avenue of going up, of making, once again, a service that makes it easier for people to have their stuff be sold. But anyway, talking about the stuff that is being sold the past 90 days, our revenue has gone up versus last year 54% year over year in the past 90 days, which is pretty incredible considering, you know, we reopened up. We had to have, you know, a lot of transition here, but you guys have, we were closed for, I don't know, probably about a month and a half. If you talk about like the lag time of closing and reopening and then actually have the first auctions in, it's probably about a month and a half. So that was really great. Also considering that we never had, none of that was Consignment Plus, because last year we had a whole lot of people submit stuff to get raw stuff graded. And you'll see that in the data as I'm going to show you, in kind of the shift in our actual business model and what that's really going for. Talking about Consignment Plus, we did reopen that. I did have it posted on, I didn't only did it on Instagram. Instagram seems to be our main driver of, like, YouTube is just kind of like, I'm honestly just doing it for myself, just kind of talking about numbers. I mean, you know, there's really not much growth here. Granted, if I put a lot of effort in the videos, whatever there would be, but I just don't this is just for me at this point. These YouTube videos, just talking to, a few internet friends here at this point. Whereas Instagram, we're getting millions of views a month, 1,000 plus followers following every single month. I mean, there's just a lot of growth, a lot of business, a lot of people messaging. And so we're getting a lot of business from that. It's kind of become a business account, whereas this is more just talking to a camera to, a few hundred people, which is great. I like this avenue to have that when I can. And I don't really feel pressured to put a post or put in a video, which is whenever I feel like it. But yeah, posted on there on Instagram that we did do Consignment Plus. It was like $15.99 a card for PSA and like $8.99 a card for CGC. Got a few hundred cards, but then it kind of died. That was it. And really haven't had, got one this week. It was like right there, as you see that little box right there. Have it ready to inventory. Well, we've inventoried it, but I haven't actually put it in the PSA system yet. But that's like 20 or 30 cards, something like that. We really haven't had much from there, which is fine. Honestly, it was just kind of a way to, the people who really, really, really want to do it, sure, but I'm not really going to promote it hugely. I actually took it off Instagram as a pinned post because we're busy enough as it is. You saw a 54% rise in revenue. Now, the interesting thing about that is that our quantity sold, so the amount of actual items that we sold, was down 32% versus last year, which is pretty insane amount of drop of quantity sold. But it's not when you consider that Consignment Plus, we sold like 60,000 items last year, but we graded 20,000 with Consignment Plus. So a third of our actual quantity was grading raw, getting it sold on eBay, and that was that was the business model. So the 32% drop is about a third. That's about what it should be, honestly. And we're seeing that drop in quantity sold. So we're getting a lot more quality items versus quantity, and that's really why we'll do it. But I'm not gonna really promote it too much because there's a lot of junk and a lot of stuff that was the reason why we stopped it, because people ghosted us because they submit a lot of junk. We accepted it. Now it was our fault because we shouldn't have accepted all this junk, and then that was it. Then we were like, oh, it didn't even cover the grading fees, and we lost $1,000, but that's fine. Lesson learned. With this new Consignment Plus that we very just kind of, it's not even on the website, are doing. It's only Pokemon TCG. That's it. And Pokemon TCG. I'm not talking Top Sun. Not talking like Bandai, not talking, the sealed ass. Does that have HP and attack? I don't know, maybe that one does. Like the poker cards, the old maid cards, those aren't TCG. Like PSA will catch them. I mean, sometimes a lot of people say like, well, PSA charged me the bulk rate for those. Yeah, but that's just because they missed it. We have been hit many times on those cards because those are not TCG. PSA will send an email that says, this is not a trading card game. A trading card game has to have hit points, an attack, or it actually has to be a game. Versus now you can. Someone tried to argue that the Pokemon poker cards are a game because it's poker, but that's not. It's not. You have to have hit points. You have to have attack. So only Pokemon TCG will accept. And because a lot of our losses were Beckett, which we're not doing Beckett. These people just tried to do the black label and they got smoked. They didn't get any black labels. And the CGC, honestly, the CGC is so cheap that a lot of people that really wasn't the money loser. It was the PSA side because that's double the price almost. So while Pokemon TCG was the lowest, really a lot of people got smoked on these. They would submit these Mario Panini cards, right? Which is not a trading card game. And they would submit bulk evolutions, reverse hollows, which they got smoked on. So even though we do accept that, we're still gonna look at it closely and make sure it will cover at least the consignment fee and grading fee. But I'm not gonna promote it much at all because, like I said, we're at 54% in revenue. We don't need it. It's just kind of a service to people who really want it. It's there if it needs to be. But the quantity has gone down 32%. Which means if you can do simple math, revenue goes up, quantity sold goes down. That means the average selling price has to go up. And yes, our average selling price has gone up 128% to over $200, $209. That is a crazy, crazy number to me to sell that much in 3 months and to have the average selling price be $209. We follow a lot of consignment business just because we are in the industry. We like to keep up with stuff. We like to see what people are doing poorly, what people are doing really good, what rates other people are charging, how we can beat that and whatever. And a lot of these consignment businesses aren't very transparent, not like in a bad way. It's just you don't need another business. So they're just, you submit to them, they sell your cards, they get a payout and that's it. But, Probstein is one of them who is probably, I would assume number one in selling Pokemon graded trading cards on eBay. I have a tough time thinking who would be number two except us. DC Sports, they don't do almost any trading cards versus sports. Like ComC is huge, but I don't know how much graded trading cards they're selling. Actually, no, we're definitely number three now I think about it. PSA, when they opened up their PSA account on eBay, they definitely all of a sudden jumped to number one. They may actually be number one over Probstein, honestly, at this point, if you just count when they opened, because, it's very easy. You submit to them, they get the stuff graded, there's a little button that says go straight to auction, they put straight to auction. Now, there's issues with PSA with, I think, fixed price, because they don't do fixed price, but people just put a high price to have it start at an auction. Really, I think PSA should just force them to put it at 99 cents. If you go to the PSA store and, sort by highest price, what's going at auction, there's zero bids, zero bids, zero bids, zero, most of them are zero bids at the top. It's like, I'm starting a price at $2,500 for a card that sells for $2,000, but it just won't get a bid. So it'll just end and be relisted. I don't know how PSA works. If it's like, once it's in that auction format, it just keeps relisting, or someone can just withdraw it if it just doesn't ever get bids ever. Weird. They really should just get rid of that. They should either do fixed price or make it 99 cents. But now that I think about it, I didn't, for some reason, they're just so new. I forgot about them, but they're definitely either number one or two. And we're probably number three, I would guess, in terms of graded TCG sales on eBay. I'm sure Fanatics they have a lot of high-end stuff they sell. I'm sure they're probably above us if you count outside of eBay, as well as Golden. They sell a lot of, just in terms of like dollar amount, they might sell a $500,000 card, just a single card. But let's just say we're top 10. Okay, I'll just say we're top 10. But yeah, to have a $209 sales price, average sales price, is pretty crazy, because we were at about 70 something dollars last year for those 60,000 plus items. So to have 128% increase is pretty crazy. Now that's, like I said, Consignment Plus really kind of messed with our numbers quite a bit. A lot of that was junk. I just say that because it's just bulk. I should just say bulk instead of junk, but it was a lot of bulk that was really low priced items that really pushed down our average selling price and increased our quantity sold. With that average sale price, a lot of that is actually fixed price. Now, our auctions, if you just break it up at auctions at fixed price, the auctions were up 17.9%. It's about 3/4 of the of our actual revenue, whereas fixed price is about 25% of our revenue, and it was up over 1,000% over same time last year. And I'm trying to think last year if we had fixed price, because we did the eBay Vault and the 0% and whatever. eBay Vault was charging, and then we charged a couple percent. But I'm trying to think, last July through September or early October, I'm not sure if we actually had that. So that might have been just like, it says over 1,000 because we had zero, right? But it's become a significant amount of our business. And, it makes sense because, a lot of the fixed price items are going to be over $100. Now, there are still people that submit under 100, but, if you have an item that you're selling on eBay at this point, if it's over $100, you are wasting time and money doing it yourself. I mean, straight up, you're wasting money doing your time yourself, because above 100, we're at 88% payout. Over 1,000, we're at 93. Over 3,000, we're at 95. You can't, if you sell a $100 item and you're like, I want to have a $100 item and I want to auction it or fixed price, you're not going to get paid out $88 if you sell it yourself on eBay. It's going to be more, because not only is the final value fee 13 something percent, so it's 87% right off the bat. You're already losing money right there. Now, granted, you could buy a store, which costs money, and then you could have it at like 12 something percent, but you're still lower. Granted, you could then get a top rated seller and get another 1%, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to also pay 40 cents per order on top of the final value fee, order charge, whatever they call it. You're possibly going to have a listing fee. They have free listing fees for a certain amount, so maybe you won't have a listing fee. If an international buyer buys it, that's an extra 1.65%. You're going to have to pay that final value fee on the sales tax, which is completely just a loss for you. So if someone has, a 9% sales tax, you're going to have to pay an extra percent off of because you're paying final value. Anyway, the point of it is, if you have a $100 plus item that you're looking to list on eBay, either fixed price or auction, so it doesn't matter what format it is. Before it was like, well, I don't want to use you because you're doing auctions and I like to do them fixed price. If you're doing fixed price or auctions, you're losing money and you're losing time. I mean, it's just like a no-brainer. It's just, why we're growing so much in the past 90 days when we had our new higher payouts for people and we started accepting fixed prices, because at this point, you are just, there is no point to do it yourself. Now, granted, I will say a caveat to that. Fixed price we do have, you can't send a fixed price item to us for 2 years, right? We have a 100-day limit. But if you price it right, if you don't have a super niche item, super expensive, if you don't have, it's like, oh, I have a $250,000 trophy card that probably will take 3 years to find the right buyer. Okay, I get it. You probably shouldn't use us. Or it's like, oh, I have a super niche. It's like this weird Japanese sticker that came out in 1997. It's this weird, of a Gyarados that was, it's a pop 3, and you're still gonna, you take years to find that buyer even knows what that is. Yes, but if you have a normal card, especially even if it's not that liquid, but especially if you have a liquid card, a modern liquid card, a base set Charizard, you're just throwing money down the drain by doing it yourself, because it will sell within that time frame and you're going to pay less. So that's why we're seeing quite a bit of surge in the amount of fixed price as well as auctions as well, because it just doesn't make sense at this point. And that's also why we continue to kind of trim down on some stuff. We've years ago, we stopped doing sealed product. We stopped doing raw cards, and we stopped doing inked cards. Well, we never really did inked cards, but there are a few things that we're going to be adding to the website of what we're not going to be taking, and this is just due to 1% of the cards take 50% of your time, and it's just not worth it because there's so much out there. We're not taking it says like trading card labeled on eBay, which is not, so it's a fake card, but it's a legitimate auto or something. We're not doing that. We're actually going to stop taking autos altogether, which is, probably, I don't know how much we sell. Probably, it's got to be at least 10,000 plus a month probably in autos, but it's just not something it's just a headache. There have been videos out there that these, and Instagram stories that like some of these autos are fake, even though PSA authenticated them. Beckett seems to have no idea what they're doing about autos. I've never understood how autos are authenticated if you don't actually have like a video of the person signing it. That's just so easily faked. Guys, we went to the moon in the 1960s. It's not hard to, I'm guessing it's not hard to fake an autograph. It just doesn't seem like that's something that's a difficult thing to do. So we're going to not be taking those as well. we've stopped taking. We had quite a few people send us these, Yu-Gi-Oh test print cards that, I got a lot of messages on and watch videos, and have friends in the Yu-Gi-Oh community who said it's probably not legitimate. Maybe one day if they're like proven, if they go back and whatever. So we're not taking those. We've never taken inked cards before, but I also realized that authentic altered may be inked, which is the same thing. It's just a different terminology for it. So I'm going to start not taking those as well. Now, granted, this is like, it seems like a lot of things, but this is still like point something % of our business, but it's just like it causes the most issues. And, we want to make this as the buyer experience and the consignor experience as good as possible. And just selling altered cards, even though they're graded, selling autographed cards, even though they're graded, they might not be, I don't want any ambiguous, like, is this or not? It's just like, give me a graded card. There's a million of them. There are literally millions of them out there, and we'll sell those for you. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing for that. Just because it's just not worth it. Sometimes I think we should raise because of the stuff that we deal with here in the background. Had in the past, since I did my last YouTube video, had 3, I believe, one person who bid on their own cards. There were quite a few Lorcana cards that they bid on, and then they canceled. This person had their own name, the same country. We have a SKU that's not public, but like when you go to the payment detail, or not the payment details, the ready to ship page, it has the SKU and it has the consignor's name, the cert number, the box it's in, and the number of the box it's in. So it's a pretty long SKU, but it gives each consignor's name, and it's like, wow, that's your name buying your card. And this actually even wasn't bought. One of them was bought. The other guy bought a whole lot and canceled. This other guy, I couldn't prove it was him, but we had 980 cards that sold at auction. This was just last week, and his 27 cards were all bid on the same person who has never bid on any of our items before, and they bid on 27 items and canceled 22 of them, and was the second highest bidder on the other 5 of them, which I had to reach out to every single one of those buyers and say, hey, I have evidence that this consignor was a bad actor, or there was a back and forth. There's 30 emails with this consignor. Once again, sometimes I think about we should just raise stuff we deal with in the background. Why, if you have over $100 card, it just doesn't make sense to ever even do this yourself. You can just have it done for cheaper, do all the work. But they claimed it wasn't them. They claimed, on Instagram, they promoted their stuff and some bad actor came in. It might be. There's a chance. There's a chance that happens. So I just had to reach out to those people and get there, just tell them what happened, and if they wanted to cancel it, because we try to run as legitimate as auction as possible. We had to cancel those and return the items to the consignor. So to deal with that, and then there was somebody who, once again, they bid and paid for the item, and they had their name, and it was on there as well. Oh, also, we had someone submit cards that we found out through, I'm trying to be vague with this because, usually want to keep consignor and buyer information private. That's kind of the nice thing about consignment, but, someone who submitted cards that, let's just say we found out weren't their cards. So we had to take those and ban and send those back to the rightful. This is just, there's a lot of stuff you have to deal with in the background. That's, is a lot for, the amount of work that we do for the price it is. There will be a one day where people are going to come. It's going to be like when PWCC was on eBay. There's going to be a time when we retire. We stop doing this. I'm not going to do this when I'm 80 years old, and people are going to miss it. They really are, because there's a lot that we do in the background, and why I think we've grown the way we have in the past few years, because we charge as little as we possibly can, and if you've done selling before, you know how there's so much stuff that has to be dealt with in the background. Yeah, there's that. What else? Chicago Collecticon, gonna be there. If you're there, stop by. I probably, unless I've met you before, probably won't know you from your, username or something. So just, say who you are, whatever. Lauren will be there as well as the kids. I don't know if it's just gonna be, how long we'll be there with the kids, because they 1 and 4 years old, and their attention spans are pretty minimal there. But yeah, that's kind of the business update for there. Pretty great. Fixed price has gone up, auction has gone up. The Pokemon market as a whole, we're seeing some pretty high pop cards go for pretty, even like a card going up from $300 to $400 that has a pop of, almost 10,000 is a crazy amount of money to pop into a card. We see the Van Gogh Pikachu was $200 in PSA 10, now selling for like $300. $100 on a pop that's, I don't know, it's not like 20 or 30,000. I mean, do the math, 100 times 30,000. Granted, if you sold all this 30,000 at the same time, it's not going to get that price, blah, blah, blah. I know. We've been doing this for a few years. I know what you mean, but I'm just like conceptualizing the difference of that. We had the, like special illustration Charizard from 151 go up $100 in a month. It's a card with a pop 8,000. That's a lot of money. The Bubble Mew, Paldean Fates has gone up a lot. The Moonbrown's still standing strong. There's a lot of these cards that are just like very, very super ultra modern cards that are like just those sets just released and just being graded, and not even popular Pokemon. It used to be, the Pikachus and the Charizards and blah, 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 the Gengars and stuff. That's like the stuff that you graded and it was really high, and then it dropped in value. And this is just like Pokemon that aren't really that even popular are being graded and being sold for a pretty decent amount. So the volume and the amount of buyers out there that we're seeing is pretty insane, as well as the fixed price for some of this stuff is anyway. The point of this is that we've been through. I came back into this in like 2016. Didn't start the eBay store until 2017, but I had a year of just kind of figuring it out and really diving deep. And that was the Pokemon Go era, right? I saw that boom. I was here for the 2020. I saw that boom. This is like, it's such a sustained amount of money being spent by a lot of people. It's gonna be interesting to see how packed Chicago is. But it seems like every Collecticon is like huge lines of people. People always say like 2020, it's like it spiked hugely and everything went up 10 times immediately. Well, not immediately. It was over a few months' time, and we saw that the beginning of that year too. But we saw that, and then it spiked up big, and then it crashed. But here, it's just a sustained amount of money being pumped into the system of cards, because it's not just like it's every card, and every single new set has more money being put into it, right? If there's stuff, every single set has, you know what I mean? Like every single set that comes out means there's more money being put into that set, and the other set for it, and the other set for it, and the other set for it. So it just keeps, it's pretty insane. So let's see what the next quarter brings, October, November, December, because that is usually our busiest months, and see what we do there. Because I think that we have a pretty good handle and indication of how the market is doing. If it's any indication of what the past few years have done, the next 3 months are going to be huge. And then it's going to die, as it does. It seems to every single year, January, February, March, kind of starts picking up back in April, but the busiest months aren't as important to see the market data as, I got my very dull blade. I wonder, if we workers' comp, does it cover the actual owners too, and not just the actual employees? If I cut myself with this dull blade, I don't know. But yeah, the lull months are going to be as important to see as, so yeah, we'll do a video to see how the next 3 months go, but it's also gonna be extremely important to see how the next 3 months to go after that, because it's just as important as data as that. But yeah, that's all I have for today. About 30-minute video. Woof. But thanks for watching, and see you in Chicago. See you in Chicago. If not, we'll make a video after that. Somebody sent a consignor, sent an alt straight from alt to eBay consignment. Man, you know alt's raking in the money. If this is what they send for a single card, I mean, you know, it's a huge custom box for, oh, but zero fees, right? It's zero seller fees. It's only a buyer's premium, blah, 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 blah. Right, I know. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll talk again soon.